I'm Jean Shannon, and I got this assignment for this month, and I thought, I don't remember what I recommended in the past, and I didn't remember what anybody else recommended in the past, so I went to the website and started looking, and I happened to notice that Kelly Pratt, a year or two ago, had recommended a TED Talk instead of a book. And the TED Talk was about a woman neuroanatomist who had a stroke. And so I recommend you go back to the webpage and look that up and look for her TED Talk. This is her book. It's Jill Bolton Taylor, and she had a stroke, and because she was a neuroanatomist, she was able to study her own stroke. And she learned a lot about the left brain and the right brain, which as creative people we're all interested in what's what with our brains. So I'm in the process of reading this, and it is fascinating, you guys, just fascinating. So I want to be more aware of the shifts in my own mind through the day, and especially when I'm working on my artwork. Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain and Drawing on the Artist Within are books that talk about the science, but here's a scientist who really gives you the nitty-gritty. So, Stroke of Insight. Number 2. Crown Point Press in San Francisco is a place that has trained professional printmakers for years and years and years. And they publish books about printmaking. I took a workshop a few weeks ago at High Point doing oversized, large-scale woodblock prints from a guy who was trained at Crown Point Press. And he introduced us to this book, Magical Secrets About Chincolet. Pasting, printing, mounting, and gold leafing, step by step. And I thought this was a book that book artists would be interested in. It has a DVD, which I took out so it wouldn't fall out. And it has tons of illustrations. How to make wheat paste, which is archival and reversible. How to mount fabric or paper. So for instance, if you're making accordion books or large-scale installations, you might be interested in learning about this stuff. And gold leaf and mica, how to do that. So the book is full of illustrations, and it's currently on sale at Amazon. So if this is something that you think you might be interested in, please stop by me later on today and take a look at it. It's a really fabulous book. Book number 3. I think many of you know about Danny Gregory's Illustrated Journey, which features Roz and Ken and Roberta Avador, so that's reason enough to get it. But I love architecture drawings, and the book is full of architecture drawings. And I like to draw souvenirs. And I was really happy to see artists who drew souvenirs from their travels rather than people sitting at cafes. So I am a person who draws souvenirs. And here are some of my souvenirs.
I'm Lynn Polly, and I know I'm new here, but I love to journal, and I was looking online and I saw this I've taken lots of classes here, so instead of being here as an art teacher, I'm here as an artist, which is a nice change for me. And that's the focus of my summer now and my life. So anyway, I dug up a couple books. I've been going through all my books and kind of cleaning house and seeing what I have. And I did order one new one. It's called Journal It. I don't know if anyone has seen this, but it's written by, each chapter is by a different journal artist, and they just, each one writes about their process, and then the pages show pages from their journal, close-ups, and I really like that because my process started with the artist's way, just all, journal writing for years, and I'm just now getting into pulling it together in a creative way. So this book is really helping me see that there isn't a right or wrong way to do this. I mean, even though I know that, it's easy to get intimidated when I look on Facebook or online at people's journals. One woman that I liked in here, her name is Robin Marie Smith, and she does little strips of written pieces that she cuts up and just pastes in, so that she's got a painted page and then some written thoughts and feelings in there. And I did it a little bit differently, but I got the idea. I was going through some old photographs and I cut up a photograph that I was going to throw away because it was of me and I didn't like it. So I cut it up into strips, and I've been drawing shoes and bags a lot just to improve my drawing skills. And so I had drawn this little bag, and it turned into be a bag full of memories. And my smile is right there, and that's the only part of me that's in there. But it was just a really nice way to have that picture of the nice flowers not end up in the wastebasket. Then I had this book at home by Kathy Johnson. I really like her, and she
Can you say the name of the book?
The name of the book is The Artist Journal Workshop. And she has a page here, page spread, What If You Make a Mistake? And I saw that just in time to, I was doing some of the Danny Gregory stuff where you draw every day. You draw everything around you, and I haven't read his book, but I kind of got the idea. So I was drawing my organized chaos, all my art stuff piled on the table in the dining room, and there was one piece right here I really didn't like. It was purple and pink, which colors I don't like. So I had this piece of ephemera here, this label from some clothes, and I glued it in there, and I thought it looked really nicely with my colors. And now I still do a lot of writing about things that are happening to me or things that I don't understand and how to work them out, but I've started to incorporate it more into the page, so you don't just sit there and read it. You can't really read it anymore. It's written in a spiral, but the writing is still vital to me. So each day when I sit down, instead of just writing and then wondering what I'm going to do for creativity, I'm doing it all together, and I really like having had this assignment actually motivated me to be looking at this more seriously. One of the other artists in the journalet had this great idea for saving natural things. This is just a piece of mailing tape, and so that butterfly is just taped in there. I like that idea too. And the third book is Keys to Drawing. And like I said, I really have been doing a lot of drawing.
Can you state the author's name?
Bert Dodson. And he just has a really friendly, user-friendly approach to going through things like perspective and looking at light and values and all of the little things about drawing that I know already, and he gives assignments. So it's really validating for me. If I don't know what to draw, I can sit down here and say, oh, I'd like to do that. Just draw part of my kitchen, things that are familiar to me. And one of the things that I want to be able to do is get out of my house. It's very comfortable for me to draw at home, but not out in the world. So anyway, it's nice to be here.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Radicke. I'm new to your group here. I'm an art teacher in St. Paul Public Schools, and this sounded so fun. I was introduced to Zentangle by my friend over here, and I do a lot of art cards with my students, and I cut up all of our papers into really different sizes, and so we have a lot of like mini things. And this Zentangle starts out.
Can you say the author's name?
Sure. Joy of Zentangle by Suzanne McNeil, Sandy Steen Bartholomew, and Marie Browning. Design Original Publishing House. And there are many Zentangle books out there. And online there are many, many menus and whatnot, but it's just a love. My mom found this, and it's just a lovely step-by-step. It made me think of the art card, the way that they're showing the square, and all of the just many, many menus, as Zentangle is, of using geometry and dividing space. This circle makes me think of how I use the Zentangle idea. I myself like to use circles, and so I end up making a template and filling in kind of like a viewfinder and divide that space up with some of these Zentangle ideas and fit it in kind of baseball card size packets for my journal. I haven't started adding words, but I like to work tiny and just do little squares. I made an oracle, and I'm starting to design now. I have an oracle deck of different words now for this size, a little smaller, that I'm going to start to make pictures for each one of the words in my oracle deck. So that's my contribution. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mary Kloss, and I have brought several books. The one that I really have enjoyed is called Drawing 52 Creative Exercises to Make Drawing Fun. And this woman's name is Carla Sondheim, and I am very fortunate that in August I'll be going down to Carleton College and taking her workshop called The Art of Silliness, which is another book by her. Now, I am a member of the Not So Blank Sketchbook Page project, and believe it or not, I was completely intimidated by this, because I am one person who starts out with a nice white piece of paper. Now, I know a lot of people that is intimidating to me, but I love white, and when I saw all this in here, I went, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? In this book, she has an exercise called paint blobs. And I said, well, that sounds kind of fun. So I went into the sketchbook and looked for something where I could incorporate this idea. And it was like looking at clouds. When you look at the clouds and you see different animals and flowers and scenery. And all of a sudden, all these animals jumped out. And once I got going, I really had a good time. And I was able to move on in this sketchbook. Up to then, I could not. The second thing I want to talk about is Zentangles, which is very popular right now. When I first saw the workshop in Zentangles, it was at the Midwest Calligraphy Retreat, which is the same one I am going to in August of this year, but this was last year's. I didn't take this one. Actually, I took Roz's Fearless Color Use?
Yep.
That's close. And it reminded me of an art project I used to teach to my middle school students that used these few designs. And when I saw the Zentangle book, I went, oh my gosh, this just develops it beyond all compare. And so I found it fascinating, all these designs. What I did at a meeting, I was very bored And then I start to doodle. So I started making all these little doodles based on some of the Zentangle things. Whoops, lost one. I am going to take these and incorporate them into one of my pages of my journal. So this has been a new experience to look at pages with things on it that I didn't put on there, but it just really broke the ice for me to be able to use her book, Carla, and she also has a new one out. I just picked this up today. This one is called The Art of Silliness, and it has all these really silly exercises you can do. They're absolutely fascinating. She's very creative.
Hi, my name is Suzanne Hughes. I brought 3 books today. The first one is called Art and Fear. It's written by David Bayless and Ted Orland. It is a really great book on encouraging you to let go of the fear that we all have in our mind and just make art. So it goes through just like the difference between making art in school and making art for yourself, fears about what other people will say about you, that you're maybe a poser calling yourself an artist but you really aren't an artist. So it goes over the kind of consistent battle that every artist has as they work, and whether you're working just for yourself in a journal or working for a public audience. I think we all struggle with the content of this book, and it's nice sometimes to read through it and know that you're not alone in that struggle. So that's a great book if you're feeling frustrated or have kind of stopped yourself from making art. The next book that I brought with is on a similar vein. It's called, I just picked it up recently from the library. I'd never seen it before. It's called The Confident Creative by Kat Bennett. It came out of the Saturday Morning Drawing Club in Boston, which I had never heard of until I picked up this book. And it's sort of similar to the idea of art and fear, is that people sort of talk themselves out of being creative as they become adults. And it's the idea that everybody can draw, everybody can be creative. So, it goes through different really simple things like drawing to music, drawing out of ink blots, drawing with your eyes closed, and then it gets into like looking and seeing, the difference between looking and actually seeing something. It talks about taking creative risks. It talks about dealing with mistakes. So it's very similar, kind of goes one chapter at a time and just sort of encourages you to tackle creativity on your own terms. So, she has a list at the back like kiss perfection goodbye, letting go of having it all, breathing deeply, relaxing, all that kind of stuff. So it's been really nice. I've flipped through it kind of fast, have gone back and read some couple of extra spots while I've had it home from the library, but I do really recommend it. The third book is also a library book. I'm kind of sad that the library sticker's over the title. It's called Digital Art Wonderland, and it is written by, I cannot find an author, Angie Sullins and Silas Tobal, and it's creative techniques for using Photoshop to alter your artwork. So rather than creating artwork in Photoshop, they deal a lot with taking your drawings, your paintings, even just painting backgrounds and small things, and combining them in Photoshop. They talk a lot about transparency layers and like effects, so they will scratch through an image so that one layer shows through another layer, so she's kind of got this like transparent or scratched through. So it's been kind of interesting. I've been on the computer with art a lot lately, and it's been sort of fun to look at some techniques for how you can take your art and collage materials and then effects in Photoshop and sort of layer them together. So that's been sort of interesting, and I know we don't all always journal with physical stuff, so the digital stuff is fun too.
Hi, I'm Molly Anthony, and I have not had much time to work on projects lately, so I've been trying to find just little ways to slip in some creativity while I watch my 2-year-old destroy my house. So I've been doodling a lot, which is nice because as she shreds things, I can draw on them. And my mom actually got me this book because I was just kind of looking for patterns and stuff that I could start working with. And this is Creative Doodling and Beyond by Stephanie Corky. And I like it. It's got pages in there where you can practice, but I prefer to just do it in my own book and keep this one nice and clean. But it's got lots of patterns and just different ideas for borders and just pictures and then putting things together. And she even has ideas for turning completed works into gift wrap and tags and all kinds of stuff. But it's just kind of a nice way to get some different patterns to look at and kind of develop into your own ideas. And while I was searching for patterns, I also came across Zentangle. And I got 2 books. I actually had gotten them out of the library and then fell in love with them and just bought them. And when I first started Googling the pictures of Zentangle, I was really intimidated because some of the designs are very, very intricate and look very perfect. But this was the first one that I kind of dove into, and it's One Zentangle a Day by Becca Krapula. I'm sure I just butchered that. But I really like this because she breaks it down into one pattern a day, and she goes through and shows you exactly how to put it together. She explains the process. She talks about the different enhancements that you can do. She talks about shading and just pattern development. So she makes it a lot easier than just looking at some of these really intricate completed designs. And she builds on it throughout the entire book. But it's just kind of nice when I just have a few minutes, I'll just sit down and just work on one of the patterns and just kind of keep repeating it. And I found that I do it, I work from home and I'm on conference calls a lot, and so I'll do it while I'm on the phone because I was trying to answer email and doing all this stuff and just not focusing on the call. And I thought this would be distracting, but it's actually helpful and helps me focus, so it's just kind of nice to sit there and repeat patterns over and over again. And then the Joy is Zentangle, which was already shown. I like this one because it's just all patterns. So where this one goes through and really shows you how to do it, this is a lot more of just lists of patterns, which can be kind of difficult to track down. So this is a really good one just to go through and look for the list of patterns.
My name is Kathleen Richard, and I brought one book tonight because I'm not like a bookaholic like other people in my milieu. The one that I bought is called Reinventing the Wheel, and basically it's a picture book of vowels, or these kinds of calculators. So I bookmarked a couple. I collect these things when I see them at thrift stores. Here's one about diet, like what the minerals are in all kinds of, the teeny tiny little type around here are all kinds of foods. It tells you attributes of them. I love this one, which is the kitchenette wheel. This was from a refrigerator manufacturer, but gives you ingredient lists for stuff that you might have in your refrigerator, how you can make a tasty meal of what you already have in the ice box, which tells you about the vintage of that particular wheel, and it's got a little ribbon bow at the top of it and everything. So these are always very useful. This one I thought was probably quite useful. Both of these are telling you military insignia and what rank, just walked by you. This one looks like it slides up and down instead of being a traditional wheel like this one is, but that certainly could be helpful in a pinch. This one I like because it's a flag signal corpsman, and as you turn the wheel for the different letters, the flag and the positions show up. You probably would best use that in a team situation. And then of course these, which are about spelling and designed for children, are quite cute too. The way that they work is they have 2 wheels, so one is notched on this side and one is notched on this side. The letters in the middle remain the same, and the end letters move so you can form other words that are similar. So yeah, I haven't tried making one of these yet, but I've been saving up the top clear disc that comes on the stack of CDs. So if any of you buy a tower of CDs and want to give me that clear one on top, I've been saving those up. So, there it is.